Hi, I'm Andy, one of the co-founders of Demand More. I'm here today with Wes, my co-founder. Wes is going to talk to us about using profit data to optimize Google Ads campaigns. So what common mistakes do you see when brands try to optimize for profit in Google Ads?
I think the most common mistake is the idea of using margin-based approaches for splitting up Google Shopping campaigns. So one thing you see a lot is basically people will look at bucket products based on margin, put them in campaigns like low margin, mid margin, high margin, and then they'll adjust their ROAS bids for that. So they'll basically try and use that as a way to segment up products by profitability. The big problem is that in a pretty large percentage of cases, people don't actually buy what they click on. So they might click on a Nike t-shirt and buy like Alexander McQueen shoes. Put a bit of a rogue example, but people don't necessarily buy what they're clicking on. So when you're segmenting products up by margin and bidding that way, because people aren't buying the same thing, effectively doesn't really work because if there's a £10 margin on the shoes and then £50 margin on the shirt, completely different margins than what you're expecting and you're bidding towards. So that really invalidates how the strategy works.
Cool. So how do you actually get the profit data into Google Ads? So
I think that a much better way of doing it is using a platform like Profit Metrics. So Profit Metrics is a company we're partnered with that provide basically a sort of SaaS solution that sits on top of your shopping checkout. So what it does is you have a CSV of all your products, so each individual product that you sell, you've got the margin in there, and then you import that into Profit Metrics. So it understands the profit margin on each individual product. It sits on top of the checkout inside your Google Ads. It'll then read which products have been bought and also the shipping cost and the tax. And what it then does is, line by line says you bought this t-shirt that was £50. The profit margin on that was £10. You've also bought some shoes. Profit margin on that was £15. It'll add up the individual profit margins. It'll also take into account VAT. It'll take into account how much shipping cost you versus how much you charge for it. So very comprehensively works out the sort of gross margin on your checkout and then passes that back into Google Ads. So inside Google Ads, instead of seeing revenue in your conversion column, you'll see the gross profit. So Profit Metrics is doing all that work for you and passing that back into the platform. So great way to do that. And also works not just inside Google Ads, but other platforms like social platforms like Meta, for example. So really comprehensive way of getting that data back.
Cool. So you've set up Profit Metrics in this example. You've got the profit data coming through. How do you optimize your campaigns in Google Ads with the profit data?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a number of different things you can do. Probably the first thing would be to adjust your ROAS bids. So at the moment, your ROAS bids are based on revenue, not profit. So you're going to want to go in straight away and sort of change those. So obviously, a 1 ROAS is now like break even. 2 is probably like quite aggressive, probably quite aggressive profit, but lower scale, and 1.5 is maybe in the middle somewhere. So you want to adjust your bids because, I say the revenue number is now profitability, which would be a much lower number. Next thing would be thinking about the ideal profitability curve. So inside Google Ads, Google gives you projections for how much you'll spend, and usually it'll say how much revenue you're getting back. But now, because the revenue figure is actually profit figure, Google will show you a curve for basically optimal profitability. So you can go into Google Ads and it will show you effectively the budget and the bid that you'll need to hit the top of the curve, which will be the maximum profitability. So that's another thing you'll want to do. You also potentially want to segment your campaigns by high profit versus low profit. So putting your highest profitability products into one campaign and then sort of mid and low. The reason for doing that is to avoid one product that's doing particularly well carrying a lot of other products, actually really focusing the budget where you want it to be. I think they're my sort of top 3 tips for using the profitability data once you've actually got it back into the platform.
So that's really good info there. Can you give us a real life example of how we've done this at Demand More?
Yeah, so the best example would be Cheeky Wipes. So Cheeky Wipes are a company that sell reusable wipes and sanitary items. And basically, we went in there, we implemented Profit Metrics, we took the individual margins of all the products, implemented that into was a Shopify checkout, imported all the data back into Google. As I was saying before, we changed over the ROAS targets, so we're obviously focusing on profitability as opposed to revenue and adjusting those. Johnny built quite a cool piece of basically a spreadsheet looking at the inflection point where we hit maximum profitability, and we moved our targets, bidding targets and budgets to that, and overall we're able to deliver a 58% reduction in cost while maintaining profitability, same level of profitability. So it allowed them to really cut back on the media budgets, which was one of their main targets during the recession we're currently in. Things are tighter; they want to get as much as possible out of their budget. That was a really effective way of doing that, and I think they were pretty happy with the results.